I've been a free-to-play player for quite some time. I don't mind spending money on the game. The game is simply just too expensive. I really didn't see the value in it. But recently, there's been some deals that are making me think about it a little bit. Should I get back into the spender game? Let's go ahead and take a look at what might be the benefits. So right now, the things that got people talking have to do with this character here, the High Evolutionary. So what we could do is either purchase the character since he's not available free to play at this time. I am confident he will have a free to play release. So by purchasing him now, what we would be doing is saving time. The next Shadow Conclave member to come out, I don't see why that person would not be available as usual for power cores. So if we were to get this character here, the next character comes out, I use the power cores to unlock them, and you can start using the team because you only need 4 out of the 5 members to get their abilities to work together. That would again speed run my ability to get that team in play. I am very, very confident, once again, that this character will be available for free. It's probably just going to be a more difficult release, probably will come at the end of the cycle for this team, thereby putting the free-to-play player at a little bit of a disadvantage. Buying them now can alleviate that. We're going to switch over to the website here because if we're going to be purchasing things, the website is where we want to do it. There's better offers. There's just a little bit more sweetness in the deal if we do it from the website. Well, what will we get? Well, for $20, $19.99. And again, there's a mental break point there. In the past, these packs and things like this used to be more than that, right? Let's say it's $25. Sales wise, that is a mental break point for people. Once it went over $20 for me, I kind of automatically dismissed it. It just seems like it's way too much money. But when it says $19.99, for some reason in our minds, that's still kind of a deal. That's still kind of reasonable for the entry level spender. This would be something I'd be willing to do one time a month, right? I'm not going to do it every week. I would be willing to pay $20 one time a month. That's just something that probably many of us have been conditioned to do over time, whether we're getting some type of a subscription or something of that nature. That seems like a reasonable amount of money. But what would I get for doing that? Well, I would unlock the character there, 45 shard unlock. I would get 3 red stars, which we already have because the red stars were already available to be pulled. And we get 10,000 points toward the peak perfection milestone. So is that worth it? Right? Is that worth me spending that money? We also would get 20,000 in strike points, which is that store that's inside the game, actually, that you get this special currency to use when you buy things. You can buy some things from that other special in-game store as well. So as we look into the game, we look at the peak perfection milestone. What is it that we would get if we went ahead and spent that money? Well, we look at the milestone here. We have Sylvie and Thanos. We're going to get those items for free, right? We're going to finish those milestones 8 and 9 for free just by spending campaign energy, something we do every day for free. And I actually have a higher diamond on Thanos and Sylvie than those right there, just from playing the game. What we would get is that first premium milestone. If I'm understanding correctly, what we would get is that first premium milestone, which is an additional 55 shards for the High Evolutionary. So I think what would happen here is we would get this 2-star unlock for 45 shards. We would get an additional 55, and that would give us a 3-star unlock. Again, not bad. That's something that we've been getting for free, right? This is one of the things that's a change to the game. That's something we've been getting for free, is a 3-star unlock just by using power cores. So now they're kind of making one of the characters, is my assumption, a little bit more difficult to come by, enticing people to spend money for one of those characters. So if we did that, what we would get is a standard unlock, and right, nothing more, which isn't bad, which isn't a bad thing. The thing though that is on my mind is, am I going to be able to progress these characters forward? You see, one of the things that I've been trying to figure out is how to get an entire team to gear tier 20 during a release cycle. So we look at the Daring Warriors here. This is the last team to come out. I got the new characters: Eclipse, Night Thrasher, Speedball, gear tier 20. Daredevil and Jessica Jones are still at gear tier 19. And again, there's nothing wrong with that. But now we're in the release cycle of the Shadow Conclave. I'm done, right? That's what, just for me, I'm done building this team and I'm moving on to the next one, and I'm not going to be able to bring Daredevil or Jessica Jones up to gear tier 20. They're going to stay just like this, which is fine, right? On the free-to-play side, this is fine, but I'm wondering, is there a way that I can close this gap? So even if I was to get the High Evolutionary in advance, for me, the way I play the game, it doesn't seem like it's going to close the gap on what I'm looking for as a player, right? People play the game differently, and it just doesn't seem like it's going to close the gap on what I'm looking for, right? Daredevil would be a really good gear tier 20 character. He's still one of the most hardest hitting characters in the game at this point, only behind people like the Maestro in Annihilus, right? He's still ridiculously strong. So he would be good at this point in time in the game's life cycle at gear tier 20. And right, it's time for me to move on from that. So can I shrink that time space? If I pay money, can I shrink that time space and walk out of it with the entire team at gear tier 20? So that brings us back to the website, and we're looking at that battle and strike pass offers that are going on right now. A lot of people are talking about these. They seem to be really, really good. And again, the price point on that is $19.99. What would I be getting if I bought those items? Well, we got here some liquid hydrazine, and we have this other item here, the Dargonite. So you get extras of those. There's about 70 of those pieces, and it looks like this is designed to try to get you to gear tier 21. So once again, if we're logged into the website and we go here to the roster screen, click the planner, we can see the gear tier 21 planner that's going to be for the Age of Annihilus. So this has to do again with getting the character to gear tier 21. And as we notice, what pieces are we missing? Well, we don't have his unique piece here. We don't have enough of that in stock, but notice those are the items we were looking for. That Dargonite, hydrazine, and we need some of those crimson laser torches. 210 pieces of each of those. And again, we're talking about getting to gear tier 21. So just something to think about. Is this something that I want to do? It's going to start to compress the time, start to break a shortcut for how I would get to Annihilus. I'm not a big spender, so that's not something that's going to happen tomorrow, right? That's not something that's going to happen tomorrow. Generally, the free-to-play side, it takes like 6 to 8 months for us to start really getting in there. So this would some way, shape, or form compress that time. It's not something I do regularly, so I don't know how much time it would save me, so to speak. I'd definitely be interested in talking to individuals who are more in tune with that part of the game to really help me make a better decision. So once again, if we take a look back at the store, if we see we're going to get those items, just like we say, they're going to give us more of that stuff, that Dargonite, the hydrazine. So we're going to close the gap on that. We need 210 pieces, and that's to get us to gear tier 21. The rest of the items here are, for example, this is a tech piece. And if we go to the end of the line here, we see that again, this particular battle pass looks like it's made for tech characters. So it's made for the High Evolutionary. So again, this is a gear tier 19 piece, but they're just trying to give you the things that you don't have to spend them out of your inventory. You can hopefully bypass some of those lower gear tiers. And as we work our way down, there's those laser torches, right? So that would close the gap on that. We simply would be missing a lot of that unique piece. We got more of the hydrazine, more of the Dargonite. We would be missing that unique piece, and this will take us about halfway there. So we need 210 pieces. This will take us about halfway there when it comes to gear tier 21. So even as I'm starting to spend, if I start to spend, it's going to get me halfway there for qualifying this character to be used in Dark Dimension 9. I don't know where the rest of the pieces would come from. Probably you're just hoping to get lucky with the orbs and things of that nature. So again, this is something to think about. It's something that's on my mind. There's a good chunk of gold here, so that will help in my progression. But I don't know if I'm 100% sold yet. So let's look at this from a different perspective. We're back in the roster screen on the game. We went to the planner, but notice we went to the Professor X saga, right? We changed the planner name to the Professor X. We went up to Heroic because the qualifier for that is gear tier 20. And that's what I'm interested in. Am I able to get this team up to gear tier 20? So we just slotted the entirety of the Shadow Conclave here into that villain cosmic, right? That works perfectly to see how many pieces I would need to get the entire team up to gear tier 20. And it looks like we're doing really good, right? All this stuff is grayed out. That means we have enough of it to get those characters up there. I'm just 3 pieces short. So what 3 pieces are they? We need this piece here. It's a bio piece, Crimson Syringe, and we notice the individual that it belongs to is Malekith. Next to that is the Crimson Spectral Analysis, another bio piece. We need 53 of those, and again, they belong to Malekith. The reason why I don't have those syringes is because I just finished off Jeff the Landshark. So we were almost done with him. We just needed that last piece. I figured I might as well finish the investment to get him up to gear tier 20. So we used up the last of those syringes there, which seems to be normal and typical for the way teams operate. This last piece here is a Mystic piece, and it looks like Sylvie and Thanos both share it, and I almost have enough. It says I'm 37 pieces short to get them to gear tier 20. So if I was to buy that current battle pass right now for the goal that I'm looking for, I'm trying to get the team to be at gear tier 20 before the next team comes out. So it looks like that particular battle pass would not help me to do that. So in the meantime, I'm just going to need to keep looking for these other pieces, right? And maybe by the time Malekith comes around, depending on what his battle pass looks like, if it's going to help me close the gap here, maybe that's something that I can consider, especially if this is the way those new battle passes are going to look, right? If they're going to start giving me things for gear tier 21, if they're going to give me some gold and things like that, you know, I'll definitely consider it, right? I'll definitely consider it. I'm not going to be a big time spender. This would be something I would do once a month. So the lessons learned at this point is if you're going to buy something, you want to do it on the website if it's at all possible for you, right? It's not available everywhere in the world, but if it is possible for you, you get more bang for your buck, so to speak, if you buy the thing off of the website. And so then as far as the High Evolutionary is concerned, I just don't have enough information. I think the decision right now for me is to just wait. I definitely want to hear from individuals who maybe have more experience with this. What is the thing that I should be looking for? What is the strategy, right? What should I be looking for if I'm going to get back into the spending game? I would, again, be a light spender, a low tier spender. I would be doing this once a month. So again, I'd like to hear what your thoughts are on this. We've seen some really cheap deals as well, some $5 deals here and there for things. Are you at all tempted to spend any of that money? Do you have questions? Maybe the same as I do, right? Again, I've been free to play for quite some time. I used to buy the passes once a month in general, but that is quite some time ago. So, hey, if you have the ability to help people answer some questions, please feel free to do that. I'm definitely going to be listening. I know that I need more education in this area. If you haven't seen this video right here, please check it out. It's legit.